Hello, everybody. Welcome back once more to Anime Yay or Nay. I'm the Outback Al.
And I'm Envy Jitters.
And, few people here today. But, today we watched Paranoia Agent, episodes 1 through 3. Chibi Noob and, Hot for Justice were not able to join us today. You know, it's holiday weekend and whatnot. A lot of things going on. Not everybody had a ton of time to watch the episodes and stuff. But we did. So, Envy, what did you think of these?
So far, I'm really enjoying it. I'm really invested in the story of the series, and once again, Satoshi Kon, the creator of the show, he has a good knack for setting up his world while also being a little not spelling everything out immediately.
Yeah, it's always kind of mysterious going into like a Satoshi Kon thing because you never quite know what's going to be happening or how it's going to affect everything else, and you never even know if what you're watching is reality.
Yeah,
It's perfect encapsulation of this little number. Um, so the basic plot of this, I mean, to be fair, each episode is kind of its own thing to some degree. They're kind of character studies in a way that focus on different characters throughout each episode. Uh,
yeah.
the first one is I might have to look up her name, but there's a character designer. Oh, here it is, named Tsukiko Sagi, uh, who when early on in her career, or just recently in her career, or something, developed a character. And I should look up the character's name as well. It was a very popular one. It's a pink dog called
I
Moromi.
think it's Marami or
Yes, which is
however
the
you
little
pronounce it.
plush thing that's in some of the promotional material. Uh, and the character was very popular. Got her success despite, and she's still in a cubicle for some reason, despite being very successful from doing it. But the company that she works for and everyone else is kind of like going, oh, we can't wait to see your next one. It's going to be even better and blah, blah, blah. And there's a lot of pressure on her right now. That and I think some of her coworkers are jealous of her because of the recent success she's had, and there's a lot of pressure and a lot of stress and anxiety going on right now for her, and she's not like the most like extroverted or outward feeling person, so it's like it's probably hard for her to deal with on her own, which she is. So at some point, though, or not at some point, like very soon after that all occurs, uh, she's going back home for the evening, and on her way, she is attacked by a kid on roller skates with a baseball bat. Now, he doesn't actually
Mm-hmm.
hit her. She ducks away in time, but she came very close to getting a serious head injury from this kid's baseball bat. At which point, we start picking up where the story is. What a lot of the story will be including is like the kid assaulting people, because she's questioned by two detectives. Again, should know their names. What are their names? Uh,
The younger one is named Manawa, or if that's how you pronounce it.
yeah, and the older one is Ikari. Yeah, these two detectives are investigating the assault, and well, the younger one's like, okay, this is probably an assault. The older one is a little more uh, cynical of things, and he's like, there a couple of years ago there was like these fake assaults that were happening, and it was the victims doing it to themselves or something, and he thinks that that's what's going on because she's very introverted. She's a little strange. It's not easy to talk to for the police, which is like not the older one doesn't really appreciate. Um, and meanwhile, there's a reporter, very interestingly designed reporter, um, named Akio Kawaza, who was at the same hospital that Sagi was at, because apparently he ran a man over some time ago and has been paying off like a civil suit that did not go in his favor as a result of that.
Yeah.
And he's a reporter, and he really needs to sell another story. And he's like, "Oh, police are investigating the assault of a young woman or something. Oh, this could be interesting. Maybe there's a thing here, and I can do something with it." Because at this point, like the detective, a lot of people aren't believing that Sagi was actually attacked. They think, "Oh, she made this up to get attention or whatever," and whatever else. She looks online, and there's a bunch of people like her, like saying nasty things about her. There's like the people at work don't really believe her, and while she's at home, her plushie starts talking to her, which is always a good sign. So,
Yeah.
and it's like, don't worry about what they're saying. This isn't your fault. This is the kid's fault, which the media has started to dub. They call them a number of different things depending on which version you're watching. I watch the dub, in which case it's Lil Slugger.
Yeah, that's what I watched too.
Yeah. I think in the subbed version it's Shonen Bat. Um,
That's funny.
Shonen Bat or Golden Bat or something along those lines. But yeah, it's saying, it's all Lil Slugger's fault. This isn't. Don't worry about this. And the detectives actually have kind of a bet going on of like, I think it's real. I think the kid actually did attack someone or not. And the other one's like, no, I think this is all fake. And they're like, well, I bet loser has to pay for dinner. And the reporter is starting to kind of harass Sagi.
Yeah, I did not like him at all.
Oh no,
I
you're not
thought,
supposed to, I don't think. Yeah, he's like this weird, pervy, creepy looking, just like imagine just a creepy old man from an anime. That's like that exactly, and he's just the way he's drawn as well is just meant to evoke just like this guy is not a nice person to be around at all.
yeah.
Anyway, he starts asking her about it. She doesn't really give him a whole lot of information, but he's like, oh, she's hiding something, and I'm going to find out what it is. So, he starts going around her apartment, and quite frankly, she doesn't like it. She's feeling harassed and that, and she runs away from him. He's just kind of following her around. He's like, hey, talk to me here. I gotta know what's going on. Come on, help me out. It's just like he has no concept of boundaries or integrity for, I guess, journalism. But as he's chasing this girl down the street, Lil Slugger comes up right behind him, whaps him right over the head. And I'm like, okay, cool. And then he finds Sagi, and he's just like, hey, we meet again. And then he just goes and rollerblades off into the distance. And that's the end of episode 1. So it's like, it's just this setup of like, here's some of the characters who will be involved. There's a bunch of other ones. But, there's this Little Slugger character. Is he real? Is he imagined? Is he whatever? Is he and we see a little bit more about him as we keep going. Because like into episode 2, the media has kind of caught on and is like, okay, there was a second assault. Clearly this was not just like some cry for attention from one person.
Yeah.
And this one actually does not focus on Sagi, really. It's actually about a kid in elementary school. Very popular kid. He's smart. He gets all the good grades. He has, he's good at sports. He's like he's the guy at his elementary school.
Yeah, this episode I saw this comment online and it both describes it perfectly. This episode makes me both not feel bad and feel bad for him at the same exact time.
Yeah, he's a huge narcissist.
Yeah.
Um, but an issue for him is that he has golden roller skates, wears a baseball cap, and he's in elementary school, and as a result of that, he looks like Lil Slugger, or at least what the description of Little Slugger would be. So kids in his school are starting to be like, "Oh my God, he's a Lil Slugger," and they're kind of starting to bully him about it a little bit. They're like, I again, the site I was on didn't translate all the Japanese stuff, but he finds notes in his lockers. People wrote things on his desk, and much like the show's name, he starts getting a ton of paranoia because he's like running for class president, and he's doing all this stuff, and now no one likes him all of a sudden. He's no longer the center of attention, which is apparently a first for him. And
And
they're
he thinks this one kid in his class who was like a transfer student, he
mm-hmm.
thinks that he's been sabotaging him or trying to have it out for him when it obviously isn't the case. And he essentially bullies this kid to
Yeah.
thinking that,
Yeah, we
yeah.
should say the narcissist's name is Ichi. I think it's Yuichi or something, but like he like goes by Ichi because I guess that means number one. And the
Yeah.
other kid's name is Shugo Ushiyama. I think they just call him Ushi. The other kid is running for class president, which is part of the reason why Ichi thinks Yushi is doing this to him. To like, he's like, oh, he's fat and he's a country bumpkin from middle of nowhere, or he's whatever. He has to smear me if he wants to beat me, and he's like, he's going down a rabbit hole. Because he starts seeing, or at least imagining, like every time he sees people and they like look at him or something, he's like imagining what they're saying about him behind his back or thinking, and it's all just terribly negative stuff. And like he's got a lot of anxiety from the fact that this is all happening.
Yeah.
And apparently his one reprieve is his tutor, who I guess he just has a crush on an older woman. Which I'm like, okay, at that age, yeah, I did too sometimes, but, you don't feel like it's actually going anywhere in the show, or at least in that episode. But yeah, the little slugger things happen. He's having a shit time. And the Ushi kid is actually really nice to him. Like, he's trying to be a friend. And, like, he finds out about the bullying stuff, and he's like, stop saying that kind of stuff. He's not Lil Slugger, but like Ichi's just thinking like, oh, he's trying to get everyone on his side and make me look bad and all this stuff. And like he tries to scare the kid into either admitting that he was the one who spread the Lil Slugger rumor, or to get him to drop out of the race. And it backfires hard. Like people just are even more going like, oh, this kid's a Little Slugger. And eventually the police have to talk to him because when everyone's saying that this kid's a Little Slugger, they have to investigate. And, obviously they're ruling him out because it's like, there's no way this kid was a Little Slugger or whatever. But, it just makes it worse. And it gets to the point where, like, I guess he had a birthday party and nobody showed up at all. And then he like he's at school late, probably after that whole like they do cleaning or whatever, and he's just kind of like moping about things going on. And this Ushi kid just comes up to him again. He's like, "Hey, how are you doing? Are you okay?" And he's a good person. He's legitimately trying to be a friend and just decent. And he's like, hey, do you want to walk home or something? And Ichi decides, yeah, let's walk home. I don't know why he decided that, because like he still hates the kid and really genuinely believes like he's the reason for all of this. And as they're walking home, he's kind of like, we're not so different. When I was bullied at my previous school, and that's why I transferred, and yada yada. And he's like, oh, I'm nothing like you. God, I wish Lil Slugger would just hit you. He doesn't actually say that to him. But he's like thinking it hard. And then lo and behold, out of nowhere comes Lil Slugger, and he bats Ushi over the head.
Yeah.
And he goes down. At which point, Ichi, for a moment, is elated. Oh my god, yay, it happened. But then he's like, oh god, I am the only person with him. Everyone is going to think that I'm Lil Slugger now. Which, I mean, yeah.
Yeah, but then eventually at the end of the episode, he gets so paranoid that he runs out and he thinks, oh, little slugger, he's coming towards me. Maybe I can have him explain what's going on. But it turns out it was the real little slugger and he gets
He
hit
gets a
as
conk on the
well.
head, too. Yep. So far, Lil Slugger has assaulted 4 people, hospitalized 3 of them. And yeah, so that's about where episode 2 ends, and then we move on to episode 3, which actually revolves around Ichi's tutor, who there's gonna bury the lead. She has a split personality.
Yep.
Uh,
On one hand,
it's
she's a very nice, calm, reserved, I guess teacher assistant or whatever. But on the other
a
hand,
tutor, I think.
yeah, but then her other personality is a confident prostitute named Maria.
Yep. Um, the tutor version of her is Harumi, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's a constant battle for control between the two of them, and this was the one that like they all feel like Satoshi Kon things, but like this is the one that felt the most like in someone's head. I mean, because it is in someone's head. I mean, the last one was also very in someone's head, but like it feels kind of like it's ramping up a little bit. Like the first episode was just like set up for this shared phenomena, and the second one is where we really start to get into stuff, and now we're like deep in the middle of identity issues, and which I think he's covered in a couple other bits of his work. I'm these last two actually kind of reminded me a bit of Perfect Blue, like the combination of paranoia, not knowing what's going on, and not even trusting who you are yourself.
Yeah.
Because Harumi and Maria, I think it's basically Harumi is the personality that's awake during the day, and then Maria wakes up at sunset and goes out and does her prostitution, which I get, but at the same time, like, when does their body have a chance to sleep?
Yeah.
I'm like, you should be dead on this sort of schedule. Like, literally dead. But yeah, it's they can't really communicate directly, so they have an answering machine which each of them keeps leaving messages on, which kind of builds into a conversation back and forth. And Harumi is like, why are you here? Why are you doing this to me? Why do you take my body out and do these, like, sex acts and whatnot? And Maria's like, your body? This is my body. Why don't you go away? I'm going to do what I want. I want to be free to do whatever I feel like doing. And that's pretty much the episode. It's Maria goes out and she's being a prostitute and loving it, and Harumi is trying to live her life as a tutor and working as maybe a professor's assistant or something at a university. She's in therapy, which that's actually kind of different. I don't think I've ever seen an anime with therapy in it, except maybe Paprika, which is also a Satoshi Kon thing.
Yeah,
So,
I may have seen it in a few episodes, but of like other shows, but nothing is probably as fleshed out as this. Like a therapist actually tells her, "Yeah, you have split personality disorder. You need to tell your
well,
fiance about this." And
oh yeah, we should bring that up. Well, we should say first, it's technically called dissociative identity disorder.
yeah,
Yin would be pissed at me if I didn't bring that up. Um, but yeah, at a certain point, this guy that she keeps working with at the again a university, I think they're at, um, kind of at random, just asks to marry her.
yeah.
That seemed like kind of out of nowhere for you.
I yeah, but at the same time, I kind of laughed at that line because like it was not set up at all, and it was just he just turns around, it's like, "Hey, want to marry me?"
Yeah, I don't know if it's just like a thing over there where it's like yeah, well, hey, let's do this. But yeah, so she says yes and is like, we're gonna get married and Maria's gonna go away and blah 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 because at a certain point she's talking to her therapist who I guess can hypnotize her into bringing Maria out and he's like, so Maria wants you to be happy, but she also wants to be accepted and yada yada. And he's like, here's how we can get rid of her, perhaps, is to, live in such a way that you feel happy and free for yourself. And that way, you don't need Maria to try to feel free. Uh, it doesn't work because she's getting married and Maria's going even more into like she wants to be the main personality at this point. It's like going out every night and like they keep like throwing each other's clothing away and then they have to keep going to the dump and like dragging it back because well your stuff keeps getting thrown out and they're just fighting back and forth back and forth back and forth until at one point near the end of the episode she's kind of having a spoilers if you haven't seen Fight Club. She's kind of fighting herself at the end,
Yeah,
like physically, which is difficult to do because it's like, as I understand it, dissociative identity disorder. You know, even if you're aware that you have it, you're not consciously aware of the other personalities when they're dormant. Like you could know that they exist, but you can't like interact with them. And
I think
she's
it was
having,
interesting though in the episode she has like a phone answering machine that
mhm.
hears messages, quote unquote, from Maria, like basically lambasting her. It's like you're the weak personality. I should be
Yeah,
number
there's
one or something like that.
that, but um, like just mentally, she wouldn't be able to communicate at all with Maria on her own without that machine or something. But by the end, Maria is like in the room with her and they're having a fight. So I don't know if there's an addition of schizophrenia or something, or some sort of combination, or just like some kind of dementia delusion. But some extra things are going on. Which occasionally throughout these episodes we have cutaways to Sagi and Moromi, the plush, who keeps talking to her. So she might also have like some sort of schizophrenia or some kind of mental health issue.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Maria and Harumi are fighting. It takes it out into the street, and who else but Lil Slugger shows up and whacks Harumi right over the head.
Yeah.
She's hospitalized. And the detectives who worked Sagi's case are also investigating the kid. They're also the two kids, the reporter, and now this woman because that's their case. They were all assaulted by the same person. And one thing that I think the younger cop noted was that each of the victims looked relieved, which was interesting to him. And
Yeah.
it kind of makes sense to me because like the opening of episode 1 was not actually like Lil Slugger, it wasn't Sagi, it wasn't like any of that stuff. It was just like this montage of just people in Japan or in Tokyo or whatever on their cell phones, and all of them are communicating to whoever they're communicating to, like, I'm sorry, I wasn't able to do this thing, or I can't do this because blank. And like the majority of it, of actually all of the conversations, are simply people shifting blame from themselves to someone or something else. It's like, I can't do this because this, I'm sorry, or I can't go here because of whatever. And like a lot of them are lying, because it's like, yeah, we could do this, we don't want to do this, but we're going to blame someone else for our problems, which I think is going to be a theme throughout this show. Like, because each of the victims so far has things they just don't want to deal with in their life. Like, Sagi doesn't want to deal with her job, or the fact that she has to design a new character. Ichi doesn't want to deal with the fact that he's not the center of attention anymore and people think poorly of him. Harumi doesn't want to deal with the fact that she has this other self in her that takes over. And when Little Slugger shows up and just smacks him over the head, they're like, well, no more problems. I'm a victim. I'm hospitalized. I can't go about dealing with whatever this is. You know, it's Little Slugger's fault that I can't take care of my own responsibilities.
Yeah.
Which, like, granted, a physical manifestation like that, like Little Slugger, is a little bit more of a reason. But I think that's kind of what... we're not sure what Little Slugger is. Is he a real person? Is he a manifestation? Is he a shared hallucination? He's slowly turning into an urban legend in this show. And, I don't know if eventually by the end he'll be like one of those urban legend ghost things in Japan. Like, in the middle of the night, you might run into a kid with a baseball bat, and if you have a lot of stressful things that you don't want to deal with in your life, he's going to beat you over the head and, hospitalize you.
Yeah.
It sounds like a yokai. So, I wouldn't be surprised if that's kind of what it's leaning into here. But we do see a flash forward at the end of episode 3 where Harumi is out of the hospital and with the guy that she either is marrying or has married at that point. And they're seeing that Little Slugger was eventually identified and arrested on TV. Which is like, okay, so he is a person. The question is, like, is he the person or is it something else? But we don't get to see who it is because this is episode 3 and we're not going to get to learn that. But yeah, what did you think of this so far?
Yeah, I mean, like I said earlier, I'm really enjoying it. I'm really enjoying the mystery behind it and the different character studies per episode, like you mentioned earlier. And
Yeah.
I'm definitely interested in seeing um, how it's concluding because, I mean, when we watched Perfect Blue, the film ended up turning into somewhat of a character study by the end of the main character, and I feel
I
like
think
this is like a
Satoshi Kon really likes
continuation of
doing that.
that.
Like,
Yeah.
I think that's one of the things he's like strongest at is delving deep into a character. Like, he did that with Perfect Blue. He also did that with Millennium Actress. I don't know if you ever saw that.
Yeah, I
And
haven't seen that one.
even like some other ones like Paprika, which is a little bit more of an ensemble piece, so you don't get to delve as deep into a singular character, but like, yeah, I think he really looks at the psychology of a character and really dives into that and really grabs onto something. And it's interesting to see it in like an not necessarily an anthology format, but like a semi anthology kind of thing where it's like just different people every day, all connected by this one thread.
I don't know if you what version of the episode you found, but did your version come with the OP?
Oh, the opening? Yeah, I love the opening.
Yeah, it's weird. Like the entire time, everyone's just laughing at the camera and just staring off into
Yeah, with
nothingness. It's
shifting
like,
backgrounds, and the song's fun.
I
I'm
just wonder
wondering.
if that. I just wonder if them laughing endlessly is symbolizing something that's going to happen in the show.
Probably. Well, I'm wondering because like there are some times when I'm thinking of like when we watched Ergo Proxy, which I guess you weren't there for, but there are certain openings for anime if they're like a little, how do I say this? There's a lot of openings in anime that are kind of samey, or you can find the tropes in the openings. I think people have done like there was a video like every anime opening ever, and
Yeah.
it's like all the shared shots, all of the shared we like not weird, but like just generic imagery and stuff that you always see in a anime opening. And then there was actually kind of a follow up video that I don't think was as popular, but they called it every other anime opening or every alternative anime opening ever. And it was the ones that kind of have like the more unique openings. And I think this one was included in there, but like there's a bunch of other ones that even the the quote different anime have similarities between all of them. Um, but I think a big thing for those ones is that the theme songs ultimately are not a showcase of just like the character designs and like a poppy song. It usually has something to do with whatever the actual plot will be. Like with Ergo Proxy, there was actually spoilers for the plot of Ergo Proxy in its opening. And I'm wondering if there's going to be some sort of thing in this opening that we're going to see later and be like, oh, that's how it connects. Why was the old man on the moon? I don't know. Also, there's an old man who's writing math equations in the parking lot of the hospital. Who, if I'm not mistaken, is the guy who the reporter hit with his car. So, yeah, he's there and he's like clearly dealing with some kind of mental disorder, or simply like a super concussion. There's also an old lady who's digging through garbage that some people believe might be a Lil Slugger as well. This is going to be an ensemble cast. I feel like we're going to get a closer look at all of them through their own episodes. But for now, I think this was all we were getting as far as Lil Slugger was concerned and some of the characters were concerned. So I feel like
Yeah.
we're gonna slowly meet all the people in the opening because like it's a bunch of characters in the opening who are just laughing in front of different things. So
Yeah, I'm definitely I'm definitely interested in how this show ends, and I'm definitely gonna want to watch it through in its entirety.
yeah, me too. I mean, I'm a Satoshi Kon fan, but like I think even if I wasn't, I'd be like, what is happening here? I need to know what what's next and who's gonna be the next victim and why are they being attacked and who is Lil Slugger. So I mean, I have some theories right now. Like one is that either it's possible that there is no Lil Slugger and Lil Slugger is a shared delusion that everyone is having. They're all to some degree attacking themselves so that they can get out of things. Um, the other possibility for me is that it's Sagi and she is severely delusioned. I mean, we already know she's like got something going on because she's talking to a stuffed animal. But
Yeah.
I don't know if it's like a Son of Sam situation where the dog tells you to kill people and then you go out and do it. Um, but yeah, I don't know. It's hard to say what's gonna be happening. It's hard to say all the time in Satoshi Kon films if anything is real or if it's just in someone's head. So it's gonna be interesting to see what is what going forward.
Yeah, I agree.
Yep. So any other thoughts on this that we should bring up? Any other predictions or something like that?
Um, I guess maybe after the next 3 episodes, we can probably get a better idea of where they may take the story for the second half of the show.
Probably. I mean, the next episodes are 4 through 6, which should lead us up to like the halfway point, I think.
Yeah,
Because this is what, 12 or 13 episodes?
13.
Yeah. So we'll be halfway through by the end of next week. Yeah, and we'll see if any of this has been right or wrong or something in between. Alrighty, that'll be it for this week. Again, watch. We're gonna. This is a yay. It's definitely a yay. We will find out what Gav and Chibi think next week. But yeah, we'll be continuing on to episodes 4 through 6 for next week. So make sure you watch those and then come back and we'll discuss more. Let us know in the comments or something if you really enjoyed this or if you hate the fact that we dropped Bakemonogatari. I really don't care either way. It just wasn't interesting to me. But you know, yeah, I'll gladly hear you talk about it. Or let us know your theories, but no spoilers, obviously, please, because don't ruin stuff. Anyway, we'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Hey, thanks for watching, and if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe and ring the bell icon for notifications. If you enjoyed this video, give us a like, and if you haven't already, check out some of our previous episodes, our daily gaming videos, or our parody series, Madoka Magically Abridged. See you next time!